I'm Gabriel Feltran, research professor at the CNRS, working at the Center for European Studies and Comparative Politics at Sciences Po. I am an ethnographer and sociologist, and I started my research in Brazil, in São Paulo, studying the politics of criminal violence. When I started my research, the level of violence in the poor neighborhoods was increasing significantly, and nobody understood why. There were not really any empirical studies on violent crime in São Paulo at that time and on the transformations of urban conflicts. People were talking about a war. And as a field worker, I studied the regulation of this violence, which was not chaotic at all, but was beginning to be controlled by the PCC, the Primeiro Comando da Capital, the first criminal command, a local crime organization at that time, but now the main criminal group in Latin America. Surprisingly, this organization was not increasing the rates of violence in the poor neighborhoods. Of course, they were outside those neighborhoods, but there it was decreasing a lot, especially homicide rates. So I started to study the daily mechanisms of this regulation. I was really doing research about the political side of this organization, its internal justice, its rules of conduct, its values, etc. So when I studied the criminal everydayness through ethnography, I realized that there was a lot of public debate about the criminal groups and its leaders, but not about the illegal markets they ruled. And at the same time, the PCC was controlling more and more positions in transnational chains of these illegal markets, including cocaine, firearms, stolen cars, and money laundering. In terms of methods at that point, I started to really follow these objects through their illegal trades and their illegal tracks. This led me to a transnational dimension of this research. With French, Mexican, Ghanaian colleagues and from other countries as well, we prepared an international project called Global Car, financed by the French ANR and the Brazilian FAPESP, to really study empirically the governance of global illegal markets. Now, we have ethnographers working in several places, in Latin America, in West Africa, in Europe, and in the United States, following stolen cars, their spare parts, and the consequences of this, of the accumulation they do for local politics. We are really interested in the connections between legal and illegal economies, as well as in its political effects. That's why cars vehicles in general are a very powerful object of study. My research has these two sides. On the one hand, I study criminal governance and the way it is grassrooted in everyday life. But in the other hand, I study the global criminal economy that underlies this governance and the consequences it produces for people. So the CEE research streams correspond exactly to the ways I want to develop my research. For example, we can look at the transformations of capitalism through the transnational chains of illegal markets, or to the transformation of the state and security policies, or to the consequences in city brought about by contemporary global economies, or finally, the strength to democracy around the world. In conclusion, I hope to develop an analytical framework for thinking about power based on my fieldwork on criminal global networks.
Sciences Po.